Hello, you're listening to the Shetland Times podcast with me, your host Marjolein Robertson, and this week I am joined by Sandra Jamieson, who has just been awarded the Lifetime Endeavour Award for her contribution to sports. Hi Sandra.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Well, fine, yeah, nice and cosy inside today.
Yeah, but still flying high after the award ceremony?
Okay, I really am. I maybe shouldn't have said it after this length of time, but yeah, just such a surprise, and I'm usually the one getting the surprises, so no, super. Yeah, I had a lot of folk stopping me, and that again is really nice, so yeah.
And can you give a quick background to yourself for listeners?
Right, well, I suppose my first thing is, for many years I was kent as, it was Sandra Simpson at that time, although I'm Sandra Jamieson now, but for many years I was known as the archery wife. And that was just who folk kent me. And then I suppose after that, when the Island Games came in 2005, I changed for the archery wife to it's the games wife. So I suppose through sports that's how they would ken me. There's the archery wife or the games wife.
And how did you originally get into archery? Was there much archery when you started in Shetland?
There was a very small club, and it was run by Barry Jehu, Linda Robertson and Graham Robertson. And I just sat in the Pippery week when the bairns was Pirry, my bairns was Pirry, and I just fancied trying something different. So I get along, and I was told right away by Barry, although at that time I thought he was just kind of enthusiastic and trying to get me to come again, but he said I was a natural. And I mind thinking, oh yeah, that'll be right. But having taken it up and gone for there, I realised that at that time I actually was a natural, because I have come across a few naturals in my time, so it was just something I took to.
That's amazing. So you're natural, but then was there another level of training about that?
Yeah. I started to get really interested in it, and of course you have to get the kind of equipment, and then I wanted to get my own stuff. You start off with the club stuff, but it's not very long before you think, well, I love this, I'm wanting to get my own stuff. So got me own bow and my own arrows and everything, and just took more to it. And then we got a coach up, Colin Downey. He came up, and he was very keen with my how do I put this, well, just yapping at the time, I suppose, basically. And he said, you should go into coaching, I'm sure you could get kind of folk into this. And I said, oh, coaching, oh, I think I would like that. So it just kind of get for there, and then I had to travel a few times down to Largs for weekends before I sat my exam, and then I sat my exam and went into coaching, and the club kind of grew for there. We advertised more and kind of did some of the shows like the Vaux show and that, and more folk came along. And
so there's a qualification to be a coach?
Yes, yeah, there's a qualification to be a coach, and you have to keep that up as well.
So do you still coach today?
No, I didn't coach, no. But no, there's a qualification, and then you had to keep that up every year. So yeah.
And you said you noticed, so you must have got to level, because you said you noticed earlier on a few naturals in your time of coaching as well.
Yeah.
How did that feel when one came along?
Well, you can. It was. If I say strange, I kind of think of another word just off the top of my head, but the next one that came along was my daughter, and she was very small at the time. And she said, Mum, can I come along? And of course my son came along too, and he was good, but he wasn't interested again. He just came probably because I said, well, come and try it. But he was good. But Louise came, and she took to it really good, and she ended up being Scottish her age champion.
Wow.
And Scottish champion for her age, I should have said.
I wonder if there's something in the past in your family that you get hunted.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, comfy. But and then of course obviously there was instant came along, and it was mostly recurves then. And then when the compound bows came in, that was a different thing altogether. And there was a few that came, and you could just see them just standing on the line. You said to them what you'd like them to do, and they just did it. So there was a few. Is
the compound bow the bow that's made of 3 parts?
Yeah, with the wheels and everything, yeah.
Oh,
once you pull it back, it's a steady, it's the hard piece of that is the pulling back, and then it's a steady weight, whereas the recurve, you have to have the strength to pull it back and steady it, yeah. That's so there'll be arguments each ways. The recurve ones will say they're harder, and the compound ones will say they're harder, but since I was a recurve archer, I'm going for recurve. Keith will be proud of me. So I was a recurve.
And you yourself have competed at Island Games over the years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was the first Island Games you went to?
Well, the first Island Games altogether was in 85, but there was no archery.
Oh, okay.
87 was Guernsey, and I had only shot out there outdoors once, and the distances was 30 metres, 50 metres and 70 metres, and I'd only shot once, and I was like, oh, what am I doing? But never mind, it's the experience that counts.
Yeah.
So we set off, and the broadcaster there said, because I wasn't told this until after the competition, but the broadcaster there had said, when they zoomed up on me, they'd said, this is the lady for Shetland who is just here for the experience. We are not expecting her to come away with a medal. Basically because they'd heard the story about me only shooting outdoors once, because I mean, our other competitors would have been shooting outdoors either for years or the whole of that summer.
And what's the distance indoors?
Well, indoors you could just squeeze 30, but it was 20.
Oh wow. Okay.
20, yeah.
Okay.
So this was huge, so you had to get your sights set and everything. So I went to the practice day and got my sights set, and I just enjoyed it so much, and the folk were that friendly.
Yeah.
Oh, I just loved it. And I managed to come away with a bronze, so of course, okay,
That's
really
brilliant.
chuffed, yeah. So when I get out for there to get another couple of bronzes, I never got further as bronze, but at that time I was fairly chuffed, because again it was the indoor thing the outdoor thing was new to us.
Yeah.
So the fact that we were gotten, the thing is, it doesn't matter if it's windy in a competition,
really?
and I'll tell you why, because everybody's shooting it.
Yeah.
So everybody's the same. Nobody's getting an advantage or a disadvantage. The weather is just what it is. But I get on for there to win another medal, and like I say, I got 3 bronzes at 3 different games, so it was really good.
Do you train outside in Shetland now, or do you start training after the games?
Yeah, no, they train outside now.
Brilliant.
At Seafield, so it was good, yeah.
That's great. And then, of course, the next, well, for me, like everything on, but the next huge thing that I know that you've done is the actual Island Games in Shetland. Which was a huge event.
That was a huge event.
It was amazing.
That was a build-up. I mind joking at the beginning when we heard, see, the Island Games used to be called the Inter-Island Games.
Yeah.
That's when it first started, and it was only when the NatWest bank came on board in 89, I think it was, that they wanted it to be called the NatWest Island Games, and that's good because they give sponsorship to our different ends as well, so it was a good thing. And that was a huge thing, and we put in our bid, and we were the smallest island to host at the time. And I think a few folk might have thought, what are they thinking about, and what are they thinking about spending all this money? But again, afterwards, I had nothing negative at all. Folk were coming to me and admitting, they thought, what are you doing getting this coming here? And they enjoyed the events that much. And they saw we're in sports folk taking part in an international competition.
Yeah.
So they could go along, the folk in Shetland were folk, the folk were we're representing our island. I'm very into that. I'm very I can wherever I go, I'm representing my island, or I can't wherever I get. So I was very like, this is me and this is what we're like.
I know, I'll always mind watching when the sailing in Bray.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so clear in my head, the different
Just
all the events I went to go
amazing.
see, but it's just
Yeah.
you're right, I've never watched Shetland compete internationally before or since.
And see, a lot of folk wouldn't have, and a lot of folk wouldn't have. They'll not get the chance. I mean, there's a supporters team that goes to all the games now, and they just love it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just. Some of them came up to me on Friday night and said, "Ken, we just love it. We go and we support the teams." And the thing is, when you're at the games and you're not competing, you go and support the rest of your sports for your island, okay?
Yeah, we do boost for actual athletes.
Yeah, well, it's nice because there's a lot of competitions they go to, and a lot of folk don't like when you say, are you trying for the Island Games? But what you mean is, are you trying for an international competition? Because there's plenty of ones on the mainland, but this is our the world. This is folk coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's really, really good, and I think it gave Shetland folk a chance to see we're wonderful, wonderful sportsmen and women. Because a sport is not just for youngins or oldings. You can be any age into a sport, and if you're not wanting to take part in it, you can then be a supporter, which is we need folk cheering us on.
You must have needed also a lot of help, because I'm asking you things that was, what was that, 12 years ago?
Was it 2005? Yeah.
But I remember just how huge it was. There's a combination our Shetland, moving our Shetland.
Yeah.
That must have been some organisation.
Yeah, no, there was an organising committee, and everybody took their role very seriously and got on with it. And Gary Jakeman came in as the main the head of the chair of the organising committee, and Fiona Daly, she was really brilliant. And there's just that many names, and we just got together and kind of delegated who was doing what, and got on with it. Yeah.
You couldn't list everyone because there'll be so many.
Well, I'm actually thinking. Oh no, I've gone and mentioned names because I would hate to miss anybody out. But there was the build up to the bid and everything. Kind John Nicholson and Billy Stoff, and like I say, I'm saying names again. Here I go, but I don't want to miss anybody out. So if I have, it's because I'm that thrilled to be doing this for Shetland Sport,
Yeah, so. That's good. And did you see a boost in sports across Shetland after the games?
I think most clubs did. Yeah, you wanted to, and the youngins that was coming along saying, "I want to shoot a bow and arrow. I want." So it was really good for all the sports. Yeah, not just archery.
And do you still do archery yourself?
No, I didn't. I retired for that too. So I did 25 years with archery.
Oh, wow.
And I gave up in, I think it was, when did I retire? I would need to ask Bob. Bob did his homework before he did his speech, and he did a wonderful job because he did this wonderful speech which I didn't really tuck in at the time because I got such a surprise, and it was a very pleasant surprise, but I sort of spent time thinking to me, is me speaking about? So he did that in a wonderful job that I would need to see when, but it's 35 years I started shooting a boat, and I retired in 2007 for the Island Games. So it was the year my first grandbairn was born.
Oh, okay.
So that's an easy one to mind, that one. So.
Another generation to tackle the market.
Another generation, yeah. No, they're into our thing now, but no, that's so long ago it was.
And speaking about that, because you said you heard about yourself at the awards, because I've read the speech. The speech is brilliant because it's such a great collection of.
He's covered so much, and I have yet, honest to goodness, to speak to him and thank him properly because I'm just been flat out for Friday, but I will be having a speak with him.
Speaking about the awards, so did you go along just to watch the awards?
No, I didn't. This husband of mine had a part in this. We have been afore, but not for a long time. And my man came home for work one day and just kind of nonchalantly, never thinking about it, he said, "Oh yeah, the boss has asked was John Henderson for Ocean Kinetics has asked if me and Dale ging to the sports awards on behalf of Ocean Kinetics." And I said, "Well, yeah." I said, "I think I came why they picked West Ilkley, we're both sporty." And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I just asked sensible questions. Well, are they getting the tickets? What's happening?" He says, "I would imagine so." So I said, yeah, that'll be fine. When is it? And no, we're not got anything on. What do you think? And he said, "Well, we could literally go. I don't know." kind of didn't like to say no to me boss kind of thing. And I'm like, "Yeah, okay then." And honestly, that was it. In my head, that's what we were doing.
He should win the award from the Drama Festival.
Yes, he should. He should tack up. He should be in the drama for definite because he's kent about it for months and months and months, and he's never told us all. He told me daughter the day before, so she only kent the day before, and she never let up. Because I said to her, I can't make up my mind what to wear to this, just what you would do.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, whatever you're comfortable in." She said, "Make it a bit of sparkle. It's that time of year," and that was it. That was never put no other thought into it. Sitting with the athletics, because my man was an athlete and I used to help out with timekeeping and things like that at athletics, just when they needed me. And I was sitting at the table with Elaine and Martin and Carol, and that's things I can't for the athletics, you see. So as it got on, I was turning and looking at them and the looks on their faces, and I turned to Scott at one stage and said, "Scott, they should sound like me." And he went, "No." All right. And then about 30 seconds later, I'm like, "Scott, I really do think you's me." And then I looked at him and I looked around the table. Everybody was grinning from ear to ear. So
I would sit greeted.
Yeah. Well, I was trying not to because I thought, if I have to go up yonder, I can't be like, I just gowling because I wouldn't have gotten any further. I gowled afterwards and I didn't sleep much, but not at the time. I wouldn't have let that guard down. I thought I just can't. But that's how it came about, and a lot of folk can't afford me. I say kind of heard taking compliments about yourself, but I mean, I had a lot of folk helping me, and I couldn't have done it without them. And I think I gibbered on in the night about young ones and everything, and afterwards you think, oh, if they'd told me, I would have had this monstrous speech ready. And I think one of the things is that I wanted to touch on, I would have wanted to touch on, is I said youngings at the time, but what I meant was the junior archers. Whereas if you're speaking about sport in general, then sport is a family. I think you're in a family if you're in a sport, not a sport for that family, but not a family for that sport, but the family that you're in is the sporting family, which means you can feel empathy when you're watching somebody competing. You can go to a sport and enjoy it for what it is, for the hard work that's gone into whatever sport it was. Okay, I mean, the amount of sportingings that was there that night, I had a permanent smile before it was anything to do with me, just being thrilled for everybody that was up for nomination. It was just super, and it brought that sporty back. And I'd already said to Scott long before Bob started this week, Scott, will he to come back to this again? Look at all the scenes here. This is just great. So it's brought that back again, the work. So it was, thank you very much for that, and thank you for everybody. I'll maybe use this to thank everybody that stopped me and sent messages and phone calls for Friday night. It's been overwhelming, and it is. That's no word I use lightly. And it's brought back all that memories to me, and Bob has managed to jolt some wonderful fun times and memories, and very thrilled.
Yeah, and I think also it's very well deserved, because you spoke about the Island Games too, and I think firstly the accolades you've won then for training, so continuing your sport, but doing something like the Island Games is really one of those situations where you put your head above the sand. And I think when you do that, no matter what it's for, even if it's for a charity, there are naysayers, negative voices.
Yeah.
But it takes the fact to put their head above to make things happen. Yeah,
it does. I mean, there obviously was a few negative comments before, but having said that, I think they were very outweighed by the positive ones afterwards. Because some of the folk that said, oh, the tune will be buzzing and all this, what a carry on, it's all to do with the tune. And I said, but it's not all to do with the tune. It's everywhere. Yeah. This is the Shetland Island Games. It's not the Lerwick Island Games. It's the Shetland Island Games. And the competitors, I have just said to somebody this morning, the competitors, Bermuda was the ones that kept coming back to me. They were thrilled. Nearly all the sports had somebody come to me at some time through it, because I can't other like chairpersons and that way being at the games, and they came to me and said that this was the most marvellous place to have the games, with the friendliness of the folk. They were going out of their way, and the Bermuda team couldn't get over the home bakes. They couldn't get over, they had to be told what this home bakes was, that folk was going out of their way to ging home and make a mixture and put it in the oven and take it to this place so that they had home bakes. And they were more as one team. I just cannot recall the other teams at the moment, but they were thrilled with everybody, and every part of Shetland did their part. It wasn't just it was just wonderful.
You know, it's another thing as well in Shetland. I think when folk are like, okay, it's happening, they do get on board. Yeah. Well, like you have a huge team of folk who help you get on board, and what I really respect as well is the folk who maybe didn't think it'd be a good idea, who then when they saw it were like,
come forward and say, come forward and say. Because like they say, you can place some of the folk some of the time, but you can't place all the folk all the time. But you can just do your best.
And then afterwards, juniors are just a huge.
Yeah. No, it's very. I noticed Bob put in his speech about the horn, the horn that I gave to the games when I was the water carrier.
What was the horn? I didn't understand.
It is an actual horn. It's a big horn, and every island is supposed to take water for their island to the games to pour in this vessel, whichever vessel you choose. I chose to get in a horn for Shetland. Yeah. And you pour water for your island into this. And then when you get to the games, all the water for all the islands, it's a ceremony. Oh, and all the islands' water goes into a container. They choose what container it's going to be, or they build a massive thing and all the water goes in. So I had come with this horn, and then for then I've usually gone along before the team goes to present the horn to whoever's the water carrier for that year.
Oh, brilliant. And then they take the water in your own home?
Yeah, and I used to insist, and I'm quite sure they still do it, that they actually took water for Shetland. And I used to have to wait until we were through the plane, through the thing to get that water on the plane. It had to be water for Shetland, so and I'm quite sure they do the same yet.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they do. That's a brilliant tradition, because it really, and
that's why we all flow together.
Oh, that's lovely.
Our water flows for our islands together.
And you're all islands.
Yeah.
Water's a big part of my life. That's really lovely. And so how's the archery going now? How would you recommend someone to get involved in it if interested?
Well, there's the coach just now is Keith Loban, and you can contact him. I'll maybe not give out his number, but he's easy to find in the book.
And
and I think if you phoned him, he would give you the details now. So
could you phone to click him in as well? And
they would have these details. They would have the details. Yeah. So, but any sport. Because I mean, if you're not a person that wants to be stood individually, because it's quite difficult to stand up there on your own, then there's team sports. Don't forget about other sports. There's lots and lots of sports in Shetland, and there's that's maybe not the sport for you. You have to choose what's the sport for you, or have a trial with a few sports. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Have a trial so that you can see what one you maybe want to go for. I mean, the athletics has got lots of different disciplines. There's cycling. I mean, look how many cyclists there is now. There's golf, sailing, squash, table tennis. I better mention a few more. Well, you know what I mean. It's a shame to miss. Well, there's swimming, shooting, sailboarding,
and
Gymnastics.
Shooting actually is a sports person of the year.
Yes, John Magnus. Yeah.
So it's
he was very humbled. I think. Again, he was really chuffed, but. I mean, badminton, football. I mean, you can go on, but if you're no a person that can stand up individually and take that pressure, then please go for one of the team sports, because there's lots of support through there.
Yeah.
I have a nice little poem I give sometimes. I've not done it for a while, so I don't know if they wants to hear me poem.
Please do.
Now then, Sandra, get the brain into gear here for memorising this. If you think you are beaten, you are. If you think you dare not, you won't. If you want to win, but think you can't, it's almost certain you won't. If you think you'll lose, you'll lose. For out of this world we find, success begins with a fellow's will. It's all in the state of mind. If you think you're outclassed, you are. You've got to think high to rise. You've got to be sure of yourself before you can ever win a prize. Life's battles don't always go to the stronger or fitter man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can.
That's lovely.
I'm getting a very bit emotional there because when I won my second medal in Faro, they said to me, did I have anything inspirational that kept me going, like when it was heard? And I said, yes, a poem that I heard for a fellow coach who was no longer with us at that time, and he came up to me and it stuck in my head, and I couldn't get it out of my head. And he said, could you recite it for me now? And it just...
Can we?
And I've not been able to forget it then, and I wasn't learned. It was
really?
Straight from me, yeah. I didn't ken where it came from. So I think a lot of folk will think I've read it, which I didn't do.
I guarantee you didn't.
And it's the one I have given it a couple of times at the when I hand over the horn. So I think since they've not had it for a few years, I think next year, Bob, when they asks me, then I'll give the poem next year. But that was just a memory again.
That's lovely, and it's a nice mantra for anything in life, your poem.
Mm-hmm, it is, yeah.
That's lovely. Well, thank you so much for speaking and giving us some poetry.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, can I just say before we finish that for a long while, and this is something I want to touch on, because again, I'm possibly using the poor thing that
please do.
Some of the things I would love to have said on set. It's just something very to me important.
Yeah. I
started off the archery wife. We touched on that earlier. So I was the archery wife for a year. And I had a photo in the paper and Fox saying, "It's no day again, is it?" And I'm like, oh God. Then I was the games wife, and Bob touched on this, and I was actually thrilled that he did, because he kens it means a lot to me. I've now got a new title, and it's Nana, and it's my favourite title of all. And I just want to finish on that note that I'm a very proud granny, and that's my title nowadays. So thanks everybody that stops me and speaks to me and everything, and I'll speak to you forever more about sport, and just thank you for coming and interviewing me. It means a lot.
Thank you so much, and it's been lovely. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you listeners for listening.
Yes.
And I'll say cheerio for this week. Cheerio.